Spot Incorporated.
Hello, my name is Bernal. Here in this documentary, we will speak about the topic of Gaia theory, developed by James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis, mainly in temperature regulation and climate change. Firstly, we shall mention what is Gaia theory, but also explain it through Lovelock's model of Daisy World. We'll also be explaining carbon pumps. How does Gaia theory relate to us? Ocean acidification? That's another one. Reaching the degree of permanent extinction? You'll also be hearing my own opinion on Gaia theory. Please enjoy this documentary.
Gaia theory was originally a hypothesis that was developed by two people, James Lovelock and Lynn Margulis, which then James Lovelock further developed it into a sound scientific theory years later, called Gaia theory. It involves that the Earth's biosphere, meaning the organisms within the planet, unintentionally helps one another in maintaining balanced conditions to keep life on Earth. In a simpler term, the Earth self-regulates using organisms already striving inside to form a planetary homeostasis. Let's use Lovelock's model to explain it much easier. To simplify Gaia theory, or to make it more understandable, we'll use a simulation which Lovelock created called Daisy World. So he created a simulation with the help of Andrew Watson. This simulation used two organisms, white daisies which reflected light from the sun, and black daisies which absorbed the light from the sun. These two plants will compete. In this simulation, he used the sun as the only heat source in the planet without any other variables except the daisies to control the temperature of the planet. White daisies, mentioned earlier, would reflect light from the sun. This mechanism cooled the Earth, lessening heat trapped on the planet. The black daisies were the opposite, instead would absorb the light, keeping the planet warm. This negative feedback system would work as a cycle. The white daisies would dominate the planet to keep it cool, then once cooled, the black daisies would dominate the planet, then would keep the planet warm, and vice versa. Instead of the visual design I showed you, Lovelock used a mathematical graph model to portray his reasoning. This is to show that the daisies themselves created a feedback system which maintained the temperature of the planet. Organisms create gases into the atmosphere. For example, the coccolithophores, which release chemicals that oxidize to make sulfur aerosols, essentially increase the size and density of clouds. These clouds reflect sun rays, which then has a cooling effect. Although gases produced by other organisms like greenhouse gases trap heat already in the planet, warming the planet, thus creating another example of a negative feedback system. Going into coccolithophores, they act as an oceanic carbon pump in the sea, just like that of trees and other plants act as a carbon pump for land. But what is a carbon pump? Carbon pumps are used to essentially bury carbon away from the atmosphere, either carbon dioxide being used up by organisms like trees for photosynthesis, or the use by phytoplankton like that of coccolithophores. Since we know greenhouse gases trap heat, another negative feedback ensues as control of carbon dioxide is happening, ensuring that the carbon does not become too warm, still keeping the regulation of temperature within the planet. Now we know the cycle of how temperature is maintained on Earth. We can now look at the contribution of human impact has made for the stability of temperature. Humans have contributed to many breakthroughs, leading to grand inventions of man. A significant discovery of humans is the use of fossil fuels as an energy source to power your everyday needs, like your vehicles. Through this use of fossil fuels during the periods of the industrial period till now, we rely on fossil fuels very heavily, resulting in massive quantities of products of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. Because of this, the carbon that was originally being buried from the planet's carbon pumps is now being once again released into the atmosphere and hydrosphere. This is now a problem faced for humans, increasing the problem of climate change. We are producing more carbon dioxide than it is being buried, but due to this, it leads to an irregularity of balance of the gases in the atmosphere. Simply saying, there's too much carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is also a greenhouse gas, thus trapping more heat in the planet, leading to warmer temperatures, thus leading to a global warming procedures. Due to an increased amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide would be absorbed into the ocean. This is because the ocean has a lower carbon dioxide concentration than that of the air. But this leads to another chain of event called ocean acidification. Ocean acidification is when carbon dioxide dissolves into the ocean, disrupting the ocean pH and the calcium carbonate processes of the sea. Because of this disruption, many sea animals like phytoplankton decrease in population numbers and cause great concerns such as coral bleaching, which is the death of coral reefs. We are essentially pushing the balance cycle created by other organisms to a more positive feedback system, meaning we are moving further and further away from planetary homeostasis, but instead become closer to just like that of the Permian extinction event, killing 95% of organisms on Earth 250 million years ago.
Permian extinction was an example of a positive feedback mechanism with planetary homeostasis, where one series of events pushed the world further and further away from homeostasis.
How does this relate to Gaia theory? With now the decrease of oceanic carbon pumps, less carbon pumps on land, and increased amounts of carbon dioxide emissions in the atmosphere and hydrosphere, this will lead to an increase of global warming in which the carbon dioxide will continue to trap great amounts of heat. Has Gaia theory allowed us to see a better insight to climate change? Yes, it has. Gaia theory has helped us understand and confront climate change. By understanding how other organisms help one another unintentionally, we were able to use this knowledge to better use for constructing plans in battling climate change. We as humans have continued to massively affect the planetary homeostasis through our actions as one whole population. Through the pollutants we make of greenhouse gas emissions from man-made things such as cars, to destructions of many organisms such as forests and animals, disrupting the ecosystem. Through the findings behind Gaia theory, it showed me that living organisms did maintain Earth in a state of homeostasis, and yet we continue to pursue the destruction of ourselves by making it uninhabitable for us humans to live. It's our job as humans to keep the balance for ourselves to live, because Earth is our home, where our families live, where our friends live, and where the many animals we know live here. Just like James Lovelock had quoted, "The Earth is more than just a home. It's a living system, and we are a part of it."